Let's see. Know your enemy. So, how was it with the history? Stronach Kotoj III, Imperial Historian. Before the rule of Tiber Septim, all Tamriel was in chaos. The poet Thrasysis called that period of continuous unrest days and nights of blood and venom. The kings were a petty lot of grasping tyrants who fought Tiber's attempts to bring order to the land. Of course, they wanted to be independent. They didn't want to have a supreme ruler. But they were as disorganized as they were dissolute, and the strong hand of Septim brought peace forcibly to Tamriel. I can imagine that. The year was 896 of the Second Era. The following year, the Emperor declared beginning of a new era. Thus began the Third Era. Year old. For 38 years, the Emperor Tiber reigned supreme. It was a lawful, pious, and glorious age, when justice was known to one and all, from serf to sovereign. On Tiber's death, it reigned for an entire fortnight, and as if the land of Tamriel itself was weeping, the emperor's grandson Pelagius came to the throne. Grandson, not son? That's interesting. Though his reign was short, he was as strong and resolute as his father had been, and Tamriel as his father. But his father wasn't ruling, his grandfather was ruling. Before him, his father had been, and Tamriel could have enjoyed a continuation of the Golden Age. Alas, an unknown enemy of the Septim family hired that cursed organization of cutthroat. The Dark Brotherhood, to kill the Emperor Pelagius first. So the Dark Brotherhood has quite some influence on the ruling class of the Empire. I'm interested in these guys. To kill the Emperor Pelagius first. Maybe Dark Brotherhood has some... You know, there are men behind politics in these free states. Maybe Dark Brotherhood could have been the motor of Black Marsh elsewhere, and possibly now Skyrim becoming independent from the Empire. I should try to contact these guys, although they seem like a pack of cutthroats to the Empire. Now I get the impression they are fighting for the right thing. To kill the Emperor Pelagius I as he knelt at prayer at the Temple of the One in the Imperial City, I guess. The One didn't help him. Pelagius' first reign lasted less than 3 years. Pelagius had no living children, so the crown imperial passed to his first cousin, the daughter of Tiber's brother Agnorith, Kintira, former queen of Silvenar. Where is that? Assumed the throne as Kintira I. Her reign was blessed with prosperity and good harvests, and she herself was an avid patroness of art, music, and dance. Kintira's son was crowned after her death, the first emperor of Tamriel to use the imperial name Uriel. Uriel I was the great lawmaker of the Septim dynasty and a promoter of independent organizations and guilds. Oh, this Uriel had a good idea after all. So I'm happy that we have the Fighters Guild, the Mages Guild. And in Morrowind, before it was destroyed, there was an officially acknowledged Thieves Guild. One of my ancestors, the Ravir, was not directly involved with them, but he traded with them. Under his kind but firm hand, the Fighters Guild and the Mages Guild increased in prominence throughout Tamriel. His son and successor Uriel II reigned for 18 years, from the death of Uriel I in 3rd Era 64 to Pelagius II's accession in 3rd Era 82. Tragically, the rule of Uriel II was cursed with blights, plagues, and insurrections. The tenderness he inherited from his father didn't serve Tamriel well, and little justice was done. Pelagius II inherited not only the throne from his father... Wait, is it now? So Pelagius II is now again the ruler before Uriel II. Pelagius II inherited not only the throne from his father, but the debt from the latter's poor financial and judicial management. Pelagius dismissed all of the Elder Council. Who is the Elder Council? What does it do? And allowed only those willing to pay great sums to resume their seats. Of course, sooner or later, politics is about money. He encouraged similar acts among his vassals, the kings of Tamriel, and by the end of his 17-year reign, Tamriel had returned to prosperity. Well, sometimes the politicians have no choice. To get the land out of the crisis, plague, what was it called, the word, insurrections and stuff, they need money, and okay, money makes the rule. Money makes the world good or bad, both good and bad, probably. His critics, however, have suggested that any advisor possessed of wisdom but not of gold had been summarily ousted by Pelagius. That's bad. Wisdom is important. This may have led to some of the troubles his son Antiochus faced when he in turn became emperor. Stay there. Antiochus was certainly one of the most flamboyant members of the usually austere Septim family. He had numerous mistresses and nearly as many wives, and was renowned for the grandeur of his dress and his high good humor. It's not a bad thing to dress appropriately. The grandeur of his dress, but maybe he dressed eccentrically. Unfortunately, his reign was rife with civil war, surpassing even that of his grandfather Uriel II. The War of the Isle in 3rd Era 110, 12 years after Antiochus assumed the throne, nearly took the province Somerset Isle away from Tamriel. Somerset Isle, isn't it the home of the Altmer? They were warring. Obviously, Altmer don't like the Empire either. The united alliance of the kings of Somerset and Antiochus only managed to defeat King Orgum of the island kingdom of Piandonia due to a freak storm. Legend credits that the Psychic Order of the Isle of Artaeum with the sorcery behind Tempest. Well, these names and lands are quite unknown to me. I don't know what we are reading about. The story of Kintira II, heiress to the father Antiochus' throne, is certainly one of the saddest tales in imperial history. Her first cousin Uriel, son of Queen Potema of Solitude, look at this. Solitude is in Skyrim. Accused Kinthera of being a bastard, alluding to the infamous decadence of the imperial city during her father's reign. When this accusation failed to stop her coronation, Uriel bought the support of several disgruntled kings of High Rock, Skyrim, Morrowind, and with Queen Potema's assistance, he coordinated 3 attacks on the Septim Empire. What? So now? Uriel, son of Queen Potema. Okay. So Kinthera ruled somewhere, but Kinthera didn't rule the empire, if I understand it correctly. Or did she rule the empire? She must have ruled the empire, because her story is certainly one of the saddest tales of imperial history. Yet her cousin bought the support of several disgruntled kings of High Rock, Skyrim and Morrowind, and with Queen Potema's assistance he coordinated 3 attacks on the Septim Empire. Okay. His first I know. Uriel fought the Imperium as well. The first attack occurred in the Iliac Bay region, which separates High Rock and Hammerfell. Kinthera's entourage was massacred and the Empress taken captive. For 2 years, Kinthera II languished in an imperial prison believed to be somewhere in Glenpoint or Glenmoril, before she was slain in her cell under mysterious circumstances. The second attack was on a series of imperial garrisons along the coastal Morrowind Islands. The Empress consort Contin Arings fell defending the forts. The third and final attack was a siege of the imperial city itself, occurring after the Elder Council had split up the army to attack western High Rock and eastern Morrowind. Splitting your army weakens you. The weakened government had little defense against Uriel's determined aggression and capitulated after only a fortnight of resistance. Uriel took the throne that same evening and proclaimed himself Uriel III, Emperor of Tamriel. That year was Third Era 121. Thus began the War of the Red Diamond, described in Volume 2 of this series. Uriel III, wasn't it this emperor who's been replaced by the tyrant in Arena? Isn't it the story of Arena, the first part of the Elder Scrolls? So Uriel III. So even if it was one empire, you see the kings and the rulers had switched there and back. They fought each other, yet they were all longing to have a big empire on Tamriel.